Hello everyone, what is up? Tim here with a Cyberpunk 2077 video. These are my thoughts on the game after completing it. I don't know if you guys just saw that. That was actually pretty hilarious. I completed after 75 hours and it took me another 10. Right now, my total playtime right now is like 85, 86 hours, and that's just due to just recording some footage for YouTube um, along with along with doing all the endings for this game. Now, I'm not gonna be revealing. I'm not gonna be revealing any sort of spoilers in this video, and if there's any sort of spoilers that may show on here, this is all gonna be recorded live. I'm playing this through my Windows media player, but if any of like spoilers that show on screen gonna show live right now, I'm gonna just skim through it, okay? So you guys are safe here. All you gotta do is just get some popcorn or some snacks and just hear what I gotta say. I think it's just important and interesting to have these sort of discussions about this because I never seen I've been covering games for a long time already, and I think it's just been interesting to see this sort of situation happen when you have a great company like CDPR. I believe they are a great company, especially of the products they've been making with the Witcher franchise. They never seem to miss a beat. They're always right on making good quality games and being very pro consumer when it comes to their products. And I'm just really shocked that when it comes to this certain game, is that CDPR literally, these are facts, by the way. I read through many articles and journals and stuff, but definitely CDPR had the option to literally not release this game. They weren't pressured or they weren't forced to put out this game. Hold up, I'll be right back. Okay, anyway, I'm back. Sorry about that. So they weren't pressured, um they weren't forced to release this game at its current state it's at. Okay? There's a reason why many investors are angry, and it's not because they were actually forcing them and being hypocrites about, hey, we never force you, blah blah. That's actually true. Investors actually never forced CDPR to release this game. Okay? It was upon themselves, the head of the studio, the CEO of CDPR, to release this game as soon as possible for the holidays because they just honestly wanted to make sales. They wanted to make the money because, in the end of the day, that's what's it about. It's not about the gaming experience, it's about the money that's coming in this gaming industry. They wanted to capitalize for the sales for the PS5, for the PS4, on PCs, every single platform. They wanted to capitalize on it. It still made good money, 13 million. But just imagine if this game took the time and because it literally needed the time, right? Because in my honest opinion, as much as I love this game clearly needs time. There's clearly a lot of stuff that's cut. This game at least needs a year or so to like if they really just wanted to do everything. It should have been literally at least released a year later, honestly. I could have waited for another year. Yeah, it was mentioned by the heads, the higher ups of CDPR, that they clearly said they weren't pressured or forced by anyone to release this game. So it just shows what company this is. A typical greedy company, right? That unfortunately it was in control of such an ambitious project. Now, am I surprised that this happened? No. As someone who's been following gaming video, or not gaming videos, video games within the gaming industry, This isn't a surprise. Happens to many, many ambitious projects, and a lot of there's always going to be cut content in video games. That's just how it works, right? It's just how it works. Um, but definitely, first impressions do matter, and obviously, they did not care about first impressions. They really thought we really gonna just let this slide and wait for patches, huh? Don't work like that. Don't work like that. Now look at the outcome of this game. So much backlash, so much heat, so much just crap coming at them. So much of everything to where it's just not even it wasn't even worth to release this game at this point. So it's just I'm not gonna lie, it's disappointing, man. When I first played this game, I enjoyed it a lot. Okay. Originally, I was supposed to make a review of this game, but I just think it's just not fair. It's not fair to well, anyone has the right? But I just thought it wouldn't be fair to review a game like this that's clearly not finished. If anything, I think this is the best unfinished game if we're gonna sugarcoat it. But yeah, just I was supposed to make this whole review video, probably maybe 30 minutes to 20 on making a review video about this, but like I said, it's not fair to review this sort of game. It's cuz I have honestly a whole list. When you have a whole list of literally flaws, glitches, bugs, and not just that, there's problems with the story. I love this. Okay, I want to make this clear. I want to make this clear with everybody first. Okay, I never hopped in um the train or bandwagon of hating this game. I love this game a lot. I want to make sure of it. Okay, if I never liked the game, if I never liked the game, I would never put in the 85 hours I currently have right now. I would never even bother trying to 100% complete the game. I have nearly every achievement on this game on Steam. I just need 11 more achievements, and those are just sort of easy stuff. And then I'm missing a certain ending to get this achievement. But I like the story. I like the gameplay. They all offer a lot. But what's the problem of this game? Because every time I talk about something, right? I talk about something I like. There's a problem to this, and it kind of affects it a lot. See, because if I talk about the combat, I'll say that the combat's probably the best thing about this game because there's just so many ways you can approach it. But a lot of people are gonna say it's bad because you know why? It's because the difficulty and the scaling of this game is just unbalanced, or it's just simply just easy. And it's also how the AIs are reacting to you. The AIs in this game are literally the dumbest AIs you're gonna ever face. I am not lying when I say that. And you know why? It's that's just simply because the devs never had the time to polish everything up. They just see the higher ups of CDPR just wanted the game out. So we could cash in and so they could get more money off and take advantage of the next gen consoles and all this sorts of stuff in the holiday sales, right? So there's that. There's literally that. Um, and when it comes to its stories, right? There's so many good written stories in this game. I love a lot of the concepts that are given, the themes of this game that are given. This game is so interesting with its story. You have no clue. You guys are probably thinking I'm the most crazy person saying that, but a lot of you guys have never really seen its game, seen the game with its story. The story is so good. I really like it a lot. It offers something I could relate to just because of the life path I chose. I chose the street kid life path, and I know basically all life paths are the same, right? That's the problem as well. It lacks alternate scenarios for whatever life path. And I generally believe that yes, they should add more scenarios for life paths, but Um, when it comes to Street Kid, right? So basically, when it comes to picking life paths, what are the big differences when choosing a life path? Well, first of all, different scenarios in the prologues, and also throughout the whole entire game. Whole entire game is dialogue. And if you pay attention, if you actually pay attention to its documents, to the readings, and also the voice acting, the performance of the actors, and also along with like the dialogue that V says on his certain thing, as someone who played as Street Kid, right? The Street Kid life path with the dialogue I'm hearing, it's something I could resonate with. I could actually relate to from someone who was raised wouldn't. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna really say it like that. It's actually gonna sound weird nowadays. But for someone who could relate to what V is saying, right, with his dialogue as a street kid, I could definitely relate as someone who who grew up, similar as a street kid life path. I know it seems a bit dramatic for you guys to hear, but it's just I never really had a game that I could solely relate to. They did a great job with its writing for just Street Kid, so I wonder how it's like for the writing for Corpo and Nomad. Um, so yeah, like definitely the story, it's good. The main missions, they're good. The side missions, even the side missions, the gigs, the stories within these are good. There's definitely decision making in this game. Now, there was a article put up and there was like people saying how your decisions don't necessarily matter. There's definitely I could confirm 100% that there's a lot of decisions made in this game without you knowing or what was it? Or there's definitely from time to time there's decisions where yes, your decisions do matter. I'm very surprised as someone who played through nearly all the endings. I haven't played through all the endings just yet. I'm missing like two, but I'm very surprised that there's just different variations for both genders. Okay, both genders, male V and female V. I'm just surprised of the decisions you do throughout the game. Calculate to. Oh yeah, by the way, this is another bug I dealt with where I got stuck and froze, and I was about to get killed, so I just reload the save. But there's just different variations to the endings depending on the choices you made throughout the game, um, on certain areas of the game, not throughout the whole game. And I'm just surprised how much detail there is with the ending and the prologue. It really just shows also that the game was pretty rushed when you only had the prologue very detailed with its life path, um, along with the endings having a lot of work into them as well, with having different variations to them. Okay, there's a lot of decision making in the endings. There's a lot of endings to see and to uncover. I haven't seen everything yet as female V. I only seen nearly everything for male V. Okay, so so there's that, and I'm just impressed. Okay, this is a game that still needs a lot of work in everything. I still, like I said, have a long list to bring up, but I don't want to mention it because I think it's just irrelevant. We all know that this game is just unfinished in every sort of way. This game is just not there yet. This game is not polished yet. This game lacks certain things to an open world environment, right? And what I'm really worried about is that what I'm really worried about, even if they promise the patches, what big of a difference will the patches make? Because I'm really curious how this is going to be like by the end of all this. Now, post launch, Witcher 3 became the best game of the decade, right? I could clearly agree with that. For someone who just played the game last December, I played. It took me 3 weeks, 2 weeks to beat The Witcher 3, and I love everything about it. Everything. It was the most consistent game when it came to um, decision making, story. Everything was consistent. Here in this game, a lot of things you could tell things were cut. Things the decision making aren't as consistent. Some things with the decision making are linear. I'm gonna admit to that. And like I said, there is definitely times where decisions do matter, but the core gameplay of usually a lot of the times is that like literally um, your decisions usually don't matter or they won't make a big difference compared to The Witcher 3. That's why I say The Witcher 3 is very consistent with it because your choices do matter compared to this game. But I'm not gonna disregard the choices that you make in this game because definitely, um, like I said, I wasn't able to do certain endings with this game because, and that's just due to how the decisions I made in this game. And there's some certain things in the game I just personally did not experience compared to others because of the things I did. Okay, so I'm just putting that out there without letting you guys um, being spoiled. It's kind of hard to describe. And um, and another thing, right? Another thing I want to bring up is how like this game has just it's just such a beautiful game. The map is so good. It's something that I always want in a game. I'm always into that futuristic stuff, the cyber world and everything. And this is like the perfect world for me, the perfect game for me. But unfortunately, a lot of stuff isn't done. It's just simply due to how the greediness of CDPR had become, and it literally offers a lot of things that are just not there. Not even car customization is there. I love my cars. I love my cars a lot. But literally, you cannot customize them. And customization was a thing in this game, but it got dropped. It got cut out. So just the fact that knowing stuff, big stuff like that got cut out, imagine a lot of chunks in this game were cut out because it did happen. It literally did happen. I want to let you guys know because with its story, these stories they're so interesting, but they end so short or they end so abruptly, like for no damn reason. It just feels like, oh, it's already over. Wait, I thought we are just getting into it. Like they put you to the rising, they give you rising tensions to the story, and it's just simply just it's over. It's done. It's like I have such mixed emotion with this game. It's just insane. I do not know how to feel about this game yet. Okay, this game, and I'm very blessed that this game ran okay on my PC despite the bugs. Okay, on my first 10 hours, I dealt barely with any sort of bugs, but as soon as I kept progressing and progressing, the more bugs just kept showing up for no reason. I don't know why. It could be patches as well, but that's what I dealt with. You know, I guess the big problem I had weren't the in-game bugs of like how the AI reacts and all that, or how the environment is with its bugs. But if anything, so the problem I had for this game was that sometimes when doing missions or doing certain, I guess, events in the game, is that uh, things would just not continue. I wouldn't be able to even progress through. Like they'll tell you, "Hey, talk to this person," but there will be no dialogue options showing up. Nothing would be happening or progressing, or nothing would be just happening in the missions. Everything would just freeze. The characters would just freeze, and you just be looking at them like, "Okay, what are we doing? I'm lost." And yeah, nothing would just progress throughout the next 10 minutes. And what I do when situations like that happen is that I would always have to save the game and then reload it. and that's a reoccurring thing throughout my whole, like, I guess you say, like, my 60 hours of the game. It just happens time to time, and it was just getting annoying. Um, what I liked about this game, like I said, is the combat. I like the combat, right? Because there's so many ways to approach it. I know there's still problems with the combat. I know there's problems with this and that. But I'm really impressed with its environment. The environment's really good. The map, because they made the map really they made the map really realistic, as if you're in a real city, but at the same time they made it very, very convenient as a player who's in combat. So whether you want to parkour through the map, the whole city and buildings and rooftops, I think that was really cool. um, they even made the maps, or certain areas of the maps, like, it still has that realism, of that you're in the city still, but the how the maps laid out is as if you're in, um, as if you're playing a shooter, or some other stealth game. I thought that I was very, very impressed with how the map design is. Whoever created this map, this is the most realistic open world map I've ever played. This is the most beautiful map I played. Whoever are the artists, and the map designers, and whoever made these levels, give them a raise, because this is the best map ever. Okay? This is the best map ever. But what sucks is that even though it's such a beautiful map, and even though there's so many side content to do, which I do enjoy playing, because they're all different, by the way. A lot of stuff, or they're not all different, but a lot of the stuff is different. Um, it's just that there's nothing really you can do. There's no interaction. There's barely any sort of interaction when it comes to, when it comes to this whole map. You're barely able to do anything. It's like as if you're in the most gigantic hub world that only has two shops in them, you know? But yeah, guys, I think this game is this is a brilliant game, if finished, or if polished, and also if, I don't know, you could just simply tell there's just so much cut content. You could tell that the developers were rushed. Now, I want to make this clear too, that everybody who are blaming the devs, this is not the devs' fault. It's the higher ups. It's the reason why I made that whole speech in the beginning of this video, is so that you could be informed that the devs have nothing to do with this. They're just doing their job and trying to make the best experience as possible for us. And it's just simply, they were rushed. It's just, video games are hard to make. It's impossible to make an ambitious game, and enable yourself to have alternate scenarios, to alternate, so, when it comes to this life path, when it comes to decision making and connecting these missions with other missions, it is just impossible to make, and have the certain immersion, or the greatest immersion you could ever have in a video game, when you're rushed. Clearly, this game needed at least another year or so, and I think that's the most disappointing thing about it, is that a lot of things are now finalized. A lot of things are now just in the game now. And now the thing is that I don't know how they could improve the story bits that are introduced to us. There's a lot of stuff in this game when you're playing the story, whether it's main mission or side story. There's just so many bits that are so good with its writing, but you could also tell at the same time it's just so rushed. Things just end so quickly. The arcs of these stories, they're so good, but at the same time it's so bad because of how many contexts it's missing. You could tell that the story was cut. You could tell that certain features of the game were cut. You could tell that literally a lot of those things in the game that were promised or presented to us were cut. There's so many things that I was so engaged in when it came to the story. I was always looking forward to do, and definitely there's missions, or gigs you're gonna do, contracts where, um you make these hard choices in this game. There's some incredibly hard choices that make you really be thinking what you're gonna do in a game, which I do love. It's the reason why I love The Witcher 3. They really put you on your toes for these missions on like, oh, what you really gonna do? What's your decision? There's a lot of stuff like that, but there's also moments in the game where you could tell as a player, as someone who's genuinely listening to the stories, that the story just gets cut so much. So, with that being said, I think this is the best unfinished game of 2020. I really do think so. But at the same time, I am not going to ignore the faults of this game. I am not going to ignore how badly optimized this game is. This game runs like crap in every platform you're at. I'm just very fortunate I have a decent rig. So, comment down below what you guys think. I want to hear it. I really do. Because with this game, has so much potential with its combat, with its mechanics of the game, with how certain things are. Like this game is clearly unfinished. Even the sound effects of this game. There's times too, and even certain animations. There's a lot of animations and sound effects in the game that feel like it needs to be there. I'm not even a game dev myself, but oh my god, there's moments in the game where I'm like, where's the sound effects? Where's these certain animations? It's not there. But I still enjoy it. You know, I still enjoy it, but this isn't the game that's ready. But I would still pick this over The Last of Us.